Our guest today is Penny Armeni, and she is the Conneaut School Board President. Hello, Penny.
Good morning.
Hey, so if I were to guess what would be the best year to be school board president, I don't know if I would have picked this year. Was this a challenging year for you, or so far?
It has been challenging, yes. Who would guess that this is what we would be going through in, 2021? So, yes, it has been.
I noticed that in March there were a bunch of parents that were at a school board meeting, and they were complaining that Conneaut schools was still limiting the number of days and hours kids were in school, while other schools were opening up more. And what do you say to, how do you talk to parents about something like that?
Well, our big concern was keeping everyone safe. We had an obligation to keep our students safe. We had an obligation to keep our staff safe. We were abiding by Conneaut Health Department guidelines, and Nichelle was very important in our decision making. And we felt when the time was right, we would open the schools when we knew that everyone could be safe.
So are up until graduation, were all the kids going all the time, or were there still limited days toward the end there?
Once we got into April, the children went back to school 4 days, Tuesday through Friday. Monday being a day when teachers could use that day for their online work with students, and they could bring students in for tutoring. So we used Monday for those type of days. Before that, they went 2 days a week. They either went Tuesday, Wednesday, or they went Thursday, Friday, with the alternative days online. Okay.
There was a report that Chrissy Mucci gave at one of the school board meetings saying that there were some positive effects of COVID and the shorter days, in that there was less discipline problems, increased in attendance. So, did everybody learn something from all of this?
Oh, yes. It really changed everyone's outlook on education, and any administrator or school teacher or board that said that it didn't really would be kidding themselves, because this was a learning experience for what we were capable of doing. Chrissy Mucci's report, shortening the days made it easier for the younger children to navigate through the day. Also, the children were kept in pods so that they interacted with their group, which kept everyone safer, so that if there was an outbreak or someone tested positive, we could trace who they were near to protect everyone. And it worked at the Lakeshore Primary School. That it worked for them.
Yeah. So, do you think some of this stuff will be repurposed or whatever with when school gets back to normal, if there is a normal anymore?
Yeah, I don't know that there will be the normal that everyone saw before, because we did learn so many things through this. I think that they will modify what they did last year. I think that the children did miss out on a lot of interaction with other children, but I think that we learned that some of the things that we did were really good. Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of a slam bang getting things done quickly when it came to, we're not going to be able to have kids in school, so we've got to get computers of some kind to the students and get them set up so that they can do stuff at home, offline or online, and that sort of thing.
Yes.
Would you have thought that would have been possible before all of this, to have it done and that quickly and pretty efficiently, I think?
Yes, no. We have been talking for a few years about bringing in Chromebooks for students. We didn't think that we were ready yet for. Children were using them. Students were using them, but they were using them on a limited basis. We had talked about, every student having one. We didn't think we were ready for it yet, district-wise. We didn't think our teachers were ready for it. We didn't think our students were ready for it. But you know what? Tragedy is the mother of invention sometimes. And we did it, and it's worked out. For some students, it worked out great. For some students, it was a terrible struggle. But everyone learned. And now moving forward, I don't think we go backwards. I think it's something that will be in an addition to what they do in the classroom.
So this fall, kids will be getting Chromebooks to
Yes.
use.
Yes.
I did a story 6 or 7 years ago about Jefferson and Chromebooks, and how easily the kids adapted, and rather than exchange physical papers, they could exchange papers and grade and look at each other's work and things on their Chromebooks, and it just became an important part of the learning process.
Mm-hmm.
And it's something that kids are going to be. I mean, kids like to play games on computers, but there are other things, and they're learning how to use computers and Zoom and all that sort of thing. Well, it's not too difficult for them, though.
I mean, children pick these things up really quickly. It's harder for adults to pick it up than it is for children. I mean, really, my 3-year-old granddaughter, can work an iPad. So, they pick things up really quickly, and really, that's the future.
Mm-hmm.
You can't take away in-person instruction. I think you still need in-person instruction, but I think this enhances what in-person instruction creates. So I think that's where the benefit is.
Well, also, if there's a snow day or a child is sick, you don't have to have, Johnny bring his brother's homework home for him. It's there online.
Right, absolutely, yeah. That it'll change the look of Calamity Days in the future, and anything else that would come along, and you certainly don't know what the future brings. But yeah, it certainly will change that look. Yeah.
Penny Armeni, the Conneaut School Board President, is our guest, and this past weekend, from when this is being recorded, was graduation. And I remember last year was there were certain times kids would go and they would get their picture taken, they would get their diploma with none of their friends around or anything. Was this year more like normal?
Yes. We were in the stadium, Joslin Field, so it was outdoors. And the graduating class got to graduate together, where last year each child individually with their family, graduated or received their diplomas. And this year it was as a class. And despite the weather, we got through it on Sunday. It was a little windy, but the sun was out. And I think that it was really, really nice.
Yeah, it was supposed to be Saturday, but Sunday was the weather update. Yeah, and
right.
And it was considerably better on Sunday. Do you get a kick out of passing out diplomas? This would have been your first time, right?
Yeah. It was a privilege. I was very proud of every student that walked the stage and received their diploma. That's 13 years of a lot of hard work. Say what you want. That's, going to school and putting in the work to get where you walk across the stage to receive a diploma it's an honor. And it was an honor for me to hand each and every one of those students their diplomas.
And nice for the parents.
Absolutely. And nice for the parents to be able to be all together, because you become a family.
Sure.
The students know each other. The families know each other. There's been 13 years of interaction. Most of them, some not as many years because they've maybe moved in or moved out of the district. But, everybody becomes a family, and to share that all together is really, really nice.
So, how about next year? What's your prediction for next? Is it going to be more back to normal as far as school goes, and sports? Will more people be going to football games? And it was limited last year, correct? Just like the families.
Right. Well, as of June 2nd, the governor is taking off all of the COVID restrictions. So it's up to, again, individual districts and, individual places that you go, what the restrictions, if any, will be. We are hoping to get back to as normal as we possibly can. We want to share all these experiences with everyone, and we're hoping to be back as close to what will be the new normal as we possibly can.
We got to credit technology to really got people through the year.
Yes.
So, on a couple other notes here, I understand that there's being some technology upgrades in the schools, Wi-Fi coverage, that sort of thing. Is that because the pandemic showed vulnerabilities, or is it just regular upgrading?
Well, you're always upgrading, Bob. You know that.
Yes.
You buy a Chromebook or you buy a laptop, and in a couple years they're obsolete. So it's just something that's ongoing. Yes, we did see there were areas that we needed to strengthen, and that's with anything. Whether you're using a Chromebook or you're using a classroom book, I mean, there's always updating, and there's always, you want to see where you need to improve. And it is our goal to improve so our students get the best education possible.
Do kids have fewer books these days because they're on the computer?
That's a question I can't answer, but I would probably say yes. I'm not sure how.
When you were talking about that, about upgrading, a lesson plan upgrading on a computer seems like it'd be a lot simpler than buying all new history books or whatever.
Right, but there, I think there's always going to be a need for certain books in certain areas, and that's something that we will always stay on top of. We have been for several years working on curriculum and updating and, changing programs to meet certain standards and, to change things when necessary. So I think books will always be necessary. Our Chromebooks and programs and things, it's just all going to be an integral part of the whole process.
Another subject, is the board optimistic about the Ohio Fair School Funding Plan? Because, I kind of think we got Sarah Fowler, she's a state representative, and she was on the state school board, and our state senator is Sandra O'Brien, and she was a school teacher. So what's going on with that?
Well, we're hoping that they work it out. We're hoping that, it's always a challenge at the state level for education, and, I hate to say it, but politics get involved, and I don't think in education they should. I think everyone should be looking at, the future of our students and making education in Ohio the best in the country. I'm optimistic they'll be able to get everything done. I'm optimistic that, the school systems will be able to move forward without any glitches as we get going. COVID put a damper on a lot of things, and, and it certainly changed the way, a lot of things worked, and things slowed down because everything pretty much came to a standstill for a while. But I am hopeful. I am hopeful that it'll move forward and it'll benefit everyone.
I kind of lost a friend when John Patterson, he worked his whole time as a legislator on this, and then he had to leave.
He was at his term limit.
Right.
It's funny, our states have term limits, but our federal government doesn't. Isn't that something?
That's right. We got to go. Penny Armeni, Conneaut School Board President, thank you.
Well, on that note, you're welcome.
Okay, bye. I'm Bob
Thank you very
Lebzelter
much.
on Perspectives.